Okay guys, here we are at Wunderkammer, and this is the show called Telephone. It's based off of the parlor game, and in our case we take a painting and then give it to a poet, they write a poem, give it to a painter, and they do a painting from the poem without seeing the previous painting, and so on and so forth. And so here's the curatorial statement. So I'm gonna try my best to capture all of the text, and you just pause it so you can read it, because it's definitely worth a read. Got a lot of good stuff here. And so the first piece is by me, Julia Guerin. It's called The Magus. It's acrylic on canvas. And then my dad did a poem from this, and it's called The Magus Waits. Christopher Guerin. And then Megan Hart did this lovely piece from his poem without seeing my painting before it. So you can see how much things change with all of our perception and whatnot. And so then my father, Christopher Guerin, wrote another poem called Stoppages. It's a very long one. It's got 8 sections here, but it's really good, worth a read. I'm gonna try to catch it all. Wish it would focus. And then I did a painting from his poem, also called Stoppages. And I took various parts from the poem to create this. And then Christopher Guerin, again, wrote another poem off of that. Again called, oh actually this one's called The Ruler Tree. And then Chris Shrine did this piece called Lunar Clock, from just seeing the poem right before him. And so for the next section, this is not connected to the other one, we have a poem by Shannon Elward called The Galaxy Beneath Our Bones. And 2 pieces were done from this. The first one, we go up, was also done by me, Julia Guerin, and it's called The Reach of Time. And then, again, Christopher Guerin did a poem from that. And then, back from that first one, we go to this lovely piece by Emily DeLunas called Gone. She did a nice job. And then, bounce off the wall, come down, and we have a poem by Sophia Ulmer called Take as Directed If Wont to Sleeplessness. So you can see what that whole thing looked like there. That was the last one. And now we come to the next piece called Pygmalion Dream by Peter. Pretty awesome, by Peter Lucken. Walking into a room. And then follow the top line. A poem called What It's Like to Be Murdered by Your Muse by Erica Anderson Center. And then a triptych was done from that piece And it's also called Murder by Your Muse by Aaron Kaufman. It's the three of them together. And then another poem was written from Peter's piece by Dory Graham. It's called A Prelude to Pygmalion's Dream. And then the next piece actually started with this lovely piece by my sister Julia Guerin, and it's called Bruticil. And that's the house we grew up in, on stilts. And then my dad, Christopher Guerin, did a poem from that. He's quite a prolific poet, and it's called House on Stilts. The next is a poem by Ben Larson. It's called A Moth Poem. And then Julie Wall did this piece called Continual Growth. It's a reductive relief print. Very lovely. And then Steven Zimmerman did a piece called Involuntary Timeout. Sorry if the small typeface isn't focusing well. And then it was sent to Chris Shrine, and he painted this called A Diamond in the Moth. And then we have another piece by Dory Graham called Burst. And then, again, bouncing off the wall, we come to another piece by Aaron Kaufman. And this one's also called Burst. Looks like that. And then we have another piece here by Ellie Toulis called My Darling Dear Starling. And she wrote a poem from her own piece, which was also by the same name. And then I did a piece from that called Starlings. And then a poem called The Path was done by Eliezer Turkow. And a separate train here. It's called To Portland by Dory Graham. And then Aaron Kaufman did a piece from that called Portland. Collage. Lots of little stuff in there. Very cool. So this was the show. Wish you all could have come, but want you to see it anyway. So this was it, and we had a lot of fun. And also we had a little table set up in the middle where people could contribute whatever they were inspired by. Get you a whole shot at the beginning. Hope you enjoyed.